On July 9, 1839, Captain Cyril Laplace of the French Navy arrived in Honolulu aboard the ship Le'a Trimis to address the mistreatment of French Catholics in Hawaii. The incident was resolved through a treaty on July 13, 1839. Upon completion of the affair, Captain Laplace reported back to his government and departed Honolulu on July 20, 1839. Realizing the distressing and humiliating position of his government, Kamehameha III, Kauikeaouli, set in motion a strategic plan to gain international recognition of the great powers of the world to end the gunboat diplomacy that plagued Hawaii. He did this by establishing the Bill of Rights and then transforming his government into a constitutional monarchy. On April 8, 1842, 3 envoys were appointed to gain the recognition of Hawaiian independence from the United States, Great Britain, and France. The envoys, Timoteo Ha'alilio, a Hawaiian, and William Richards, an American, were given plenipotentiary powers to negotiate on behalf of the king. The third envoy, Sir George Simpson, was a British subject who sympathized with the mission, while also seeking benefits for his company, the Hudson's Bay Company. In good faith, he loaned $10,000 to the government to accomplish this mission. Shortly thereafter, Sir George traveled via Alaska and Siberia with plans to meet up with the other 2 envoys in London by January 1843. Preparations were made secretly by the Hawaiian government for the journey of the 2 Hawaiian envoys. On July 18, 1842, Ha'alilio and Richards departed from Lahaina for Mazatlan on the schooner Shah. They traveled 900 miles across Mexico under blazing hot sun, drenching rains, and frigid snow till they arrived at Veracruz on October 29th. They remained there till November 8th when they departed Veracruz on the steamer Missouri to New Orleans, then traveled by mail route to arrive at Washington, D.C. on December 3rd. They met with Daniel Webster, U.S. Secretary of State, on December 7, 1842. On December 19th, the envoys received a letter alluding to an unofficial recognition of Hawaiian independence. The envoys respond to Webster saying, while therefore all is demanded of his government and all is rendered by it, he feels that he has a right to expect his state to be acknowledged as such and thus be formally received into the general compact of sovereign nations. Feeling satisfied with their efforts, the envoys depart from New York to Liverpool, England on February 1, 1843, aboard the ship Caledonia. In a letter by Timoteo Ha'alilio to Dr. G.P. Judd on February 27, 1843, he recounts his longing of home. He writes, "But for the mind to forget the land of my birth, it cannot be forgotten. There is love for the land, the chiefs, and the people. Say, these countries which I have seen are great, but I do not want to stay here, not at all, because the love and desire is not more than what I have for my birthplace." Having focused their efforts on numerous meetings with diplomats and traveling back and forth between the countries, the envoys receive assurance from Great Britain, France, and Belgium of their country's willingness to acknowledge Hawaiian independence. In June of 1843, news of Paulet's occupation of Hawaii reached Europe, and the envoys pivot to address the crisis with British diplomats. They quickly depart France to return to London and meet with J.F.B. Marshall, the envoy appointed by Kamehameha III in response to Paulet's occupation of Hawaii. Marshall delivers letters from the chiefs informing them of what transpired, and the 3 men immediately strategize a plan of action. In October of 1843, on one of their many trips to London, Richards and Ha'alilio visit the College of Heraldry, now the College of Arms, and met with Harold Thomas King. They proposed to commission the College of Heraldry to create a seal for the Hawaiian Kingdom. From the verbal descriptions given by Richards and Ha'alilio, Mr. King would create intricate sketches that resemble what would become the final seal. It is interesting to note here that less than 3 months after Kamehameha III declared to his people "Wamau Kea o Ka'aina Ikapono" at the conclusion of the Paulet affair, it was included in the seal. It's not until November 28, 1843, that Great Britain and France signed a joint proclamation recognizing Hawaiian independence. The envoys continued on their journey in Europe through May of 1844 to conclude negotiations incurred from the Paulet incident and also secure recognition from Belgium. They returned to America to conclude negotiations with the U.S. Secretary of State Calhoun and receive formal recognition of independence in July of 1844. The envoys spent the summer traveling throughout the U.S., where Ha'alilio visited many institutions, government offices, and museums. In August, the envoys attend a missionary convention in Syracuse, New York with Dr. Richard Armstrong of Hawaii. By October of 1844, American papers are reporting that Ha'alilio is sick. while Hawaii papers were lacking any information on the whereabouts of the envoys. On March 23, 1845, the ship Montreal arrived in Honolulu, and Richards went directly to inform the king that Ha'alilio had died at sea on December 3, 1844. On March 29, 1845, an account of their journey and a tribute to Ha'alilio is printed in the Polynesian newspaper, written by his companion and friend William Richards. Timoteo Ha'alilio was laid to rest at Pohukaina Oahu on the grounds of Iolani Palace, yet the only record of him is on two incorrect plaques, one on the inside of Kauikeaouli Church and one in a plot located behind the Lunalilo crypt bearing the name of Richard Ha'alilio, 1808 to 1844. Timoteo Ha'alilio, Reverend William Richards, and Sir George Simpson worked tirelessly for the benefit of Hawaii in successfully negotiating the recognition of Hawaii's independence against seemingly insurmountable odds. With intelligence, integrity, and indefatigable endurance, they secured Hawaii's place in the family of nations, as Hawaii became the first non-European nation in the world to enjoy such a distinction. History and the stories behind them are important. Our job is to ensure they don't fall into obscurity like this old photo of them taken in London while they were on their mission.